Dear fellow white people, if you already have, or in the future may be planning on immigrating to a country with predominantly people of color, we need to talk. What up, y'all? It's been a minute since my last rant. If you have been following me, you know that I am traveling through Mexico and I am currently in Belize. This is the beautiful city of San Ignacio behind me. I wanted to take a little bit of time to get away from the rants and really enjoy my travels, which I really have, but there has been so much going on lately and I can no longer remain silent. I wanted to talk to y'all about the realities of people that look like me immigrating to countries such as here in Belize. In a few of my past videos, I've referred to y'all as expats, but in the future and moving forward, I'm not doing that classist, racist shit anymore. Y'all are immigrants. Now, on the very surface, there's nothing wrong with immigration, but it's what comes after that and the mentality of most that is the problem. Now, let's be honest, until the last few years, race and colonialism have not been at the forefront of our national conversations. While they have existed for centuries and have most definitely been talked about in communities of color, they're just now becoming a common topic among everyone. In saying that, a lot of what is occurring is ignorance, and thankfully ignorance can be fought with education and overcome. But as white people, it is imperative that we were able to listen and not only just recognize our privilege, but our participation in maintenance of people's oppression and be willing to work towards changing ourselves and the systems that keep people in poverty. To me, the most important aspect of immigrating to a country of people of color as a white person is recognizing the privileges that we hold and the impacts that it will have on their society and communities. The two primary privileges that we often hold are the ease of immigration and the money required to do it. The US dollar goes a lot further in countries like here in Belize than vice versa. It would be a lot more difficult for a Belizean to save up enough money to immigrate to the United States, and then on top of that they have to deal with the rigorous immigration laws, which have gotten even worse recently. While being here, I have yet to see a white man from the United States being employed and under the command of a person of color. Not that it doesn't exist, I just haven't witnessed it. Every time I see a white person from the United States that now lives here, that has opened their own business, they have people of color working for them. And this is where the job creator mentality comes into play. Let me make this perfectly clear. You are not a job creator. You are maintaining and even exacerbating a system that doesn't allow for locals to make enough money to start their own businesses, so they're left working for foreigners and the elite of their own countries. This keeps them impoverished and enslaved. Now, I'm all for each one teach one. If you have a skill or if you have access to technology, share it. If you do have the capital and can invest in a community, whether in your country or another country, do it. But number one, there must be consensus. You cannot and should not invade a community and make decisions for them. That is colonialism and that is dictatorship. The second problem that typically goes hand in hand is only doing something for your individual profit and not for the benefit of people. Profit should not even be a factor. We need to empower people to empower other people and create systems that allow everyone access to the resources that they need for their dreams and their goals. And also, these systems need to eliminate work culture and instead just be focused on the benefit of the community. But that is a whole nother rant. So I just recently had a dialogue with a white man from the United States. He was not an immigrant, he was only visiting, but he could not fathom doing anything unless profit was involved. He could not fathom creating something without money. He kept asking, where would we get the resources? Our reality, yes, it does. But there are still ways that we can gain resources and build things without money. And he was also baffled when folks told him that they didn't want running water or modern technologies coming to their land, that they were fine with living how they had been. He kept saying he didn't understand why people were rejecting progress without being able to comprehend what that progress has meant for millions of people worldwide as well as the planet. Now, I do give him credit because he did engage in this dialogue for quite a while, which was a lot longer than the white woman who was at the table, whom at the first sign of possible conflict decided to get up and walk away. I just hope that during these conversations that I'm able to plant seeds, because I'm definitely not going to change their mind overnight, but I can at least give them something to think about. Now, what if you're planning on immigrating to a country but you have no plans on starting your own business? What if you're just wanting to gain residency and then get a job and move forward. There are still dynamics that come into play that you have to consider, such as housing. Is there a homeless population in the country that you're moving to? Is your presence as a white person or white passing person going to raise the cost of living in this community and cause gentrification and displacement of these locals who have been in this community for decades or centuries? I'm not attempting to tell you not to immigrate to these countries, but I am just presenting a dialogue of things that we need to know and we need to recognize if we are going to be moving into these countries. It is a lot more complicated than your ignorance allows you to believe. Also, disclaimer, the things that I have mentioned do not translate the same into the United States. In general, people of color are not moving into the United States with foreign capital and opening businesses. Most of the US poor are impoverished because of the quality of domestic education, private corporations, non-livable wages, exploitation, and capitalism. So this is just the beginning of a conversation regarding immigration based on what I have witnessed here in the past few weeks. It is by no means all-inclusive of all of the things that we need to think about, but it is just a list of things that I find most important when talking about immigrating to a country as a white person that is predominantly people of color. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Let's start a dialogue. Let's talk about this. Let's have a civil conversation, and let's try to educate white people. And I'm learning every day. This is things that I've been thinking about and contemplating, like I said, during my travels. I still have a lot more to learn, and I continue to remain open to learning other things from other people and different perspectives, as long as those perspectives aren't rooted in white supremacy and are rooted in actually wanting to learn and to have real progression and to move forward. Until the next video, I leave you with revolutionary love. But luckily, ignorance can be fought with education.